I want to dive into the fact that the Nuggets are one of the most disrespected one seeds of all time. ESPN should be gushing over the fact that a team made the finals for the first time in franchise history. Instead, they're trying to sell maxi pads to dudes to stop gooch grease.
This is SportsCenter.
Gooch grease as a culmination of lint, sweat, and dried up pieces of feces between a man's butt and balls.
Can I get one highlight of Jokic passing a ball? Today, let's discuss how the Nuggets get treated like the gooch grease of the NBA. Today's episode is sponsored by Manscaped.com/GoodSports. Father's Day is coming up, and it's time your dad knows that you are thinking about his hygiene and his body hair. I've already given my dad the Lawnmower 4.0 for Father's Day. No clue if he uses it because I don't ask my dad about his pubes. I've given him the Weed Whacker 2.0 nose and ear hair trimmer, which I knows he uses. And you can get your dad both with the Performance Package for Father's Day. Recently, my dad copied me and grew a beard. Recently, Manscaped added the Beard Hedger beard trimmer, and this is 100% what my dad's getting this upcoming Father's Day. Now, I use the Hedger every week for my beard, and its zoom wheel allows you to easily switch to 20 different beard lengths, and its titanium-coated T-blade cuts through the thickest of hair with ease. My dad is new to having a beard, so this is the one area I can teach him a thing or two since I've had mine for a decade now. Use my link below. Go to manscaped.com/goodsports for 20% off plus free international shipping. The NBA Finals tip-off tonight between the 8-seed Miami Heat and the 1-seed Denver Nuggets. Wait, let me rephrase that. The most disrespected 1-seed of all time, Denver Nuggets, versus the Heat, who've also been pretty disrespected, but today's not about them. Shout out to YouTuber John Tortorelli for putting some of this montage together and saving me time.
Western Conference Finals Most Valuable Player Award goes to Nikola Jokic.
The worst player to win the MVP since Dave Cowan. I'm like, okay, the 1 seed is Denver. I know a healthy LeBron and AD can beat them.
Anthony Davis will be more forceful inside and more forceful defensively and better on the glass.
National narrative was, hey, the Lakers are fine. They're down 1-0, but they figured something out. No one talked about Nikola just had a historic performance.
I take Anthony Davis over Jokic.
I think we're losing the point, and I think by picking a Joker, you just open up a can of worms that you don't necessarily have to have a winning season.
We're watching a center put up wilt numbers in the modern era, and we still don't give him the respect as one of the greatest offensive players we've ever seen. Is crazy to me.
Yeah, but Denver's not exciting.
No.
We're attracted to a story, a player exciting.
No, not you too, Dan.
You know, the Los Angeles Lakers aren't an exciting team.
Yes, they are.
They're frustrating.
No, they got LeBron.
That's not exciting.
That's ratings gold.
The only thing about Game 1 we know for sure is that Tyler Hero is gonna wear some extremely dumb shit on the bench. Regardless, that dumb hat did receive more attention than Jokic dropping an iconic shot in front of AD from 3. Call me crazy, Dan, but that's interesting basketball, isn't it? No matter how Game 1 plays out, though, the Nuggets, the team I support here in Denver, enter the franchise's first NBA Finals as the least covered, least talked about, least dissected, least respected finals team since probably the Houston Rockets back in 1981, before I was born. And that was because the Rockets finished 40-42 that season. These Nuggets, on the other hand, cruised into the playoffs with 53 wins, basically taking the last month of the season off. They had the 1 seed racked up for weeks, and yet you'd have an easier time finding a vegetable on Brian Windhorst's plate than a national reporter who picked Denver to win it all. Now, I already know what you're thinking, right? Here we go again. Local reporter plays the nobody believes in us card, which is wrong for 2 reasons. 1, I'm not a reporter. I'm a sports sex symbol. All Nuggets fans have wanted is for the team to get a little more love from the people who allegedly watch the NBA for a living. That's all. And for them to say the first place Nuggets are a really fucking good team who I would not want to play. Memphis got more coverage because Dylan Brooks called LeBron James old.
I don't care, he's old.
And nobody cared that the Nuggets actually made him look old. And I get it. The only thing more annoying than the Nuggets not getting respect is for all of us Nuggets fans to be asking for respect. The Nuggets gotta earn that by winning a championship. But no one outside of that stupid TikTok corgi dog thought the Nuggets would be here in the finals. Wait, that's not a corgi. That's LeBron shooting threes in the playoffs. So I have a message to all of you Celtics fans, you Kobe stans, you Giannis freaks, you Embiid apologists, you Clipper pervs, you sick Clipper fucking pervs. God, why are you so perverted? To all NBA fans who never took my team seriously, I am tired of all of this Denver Nuggets slander. And if you don't trust me as a basketball expert, well, perhaps this guy is a little more persuasive.
I am tired of this Denver Nuggets slander.
Yeah, the Nuggets have been slandered so much they might join Brett Favre in his defamation lawsuit. So the biggest question is, why? Why all this slander? Why are the Nuggets treated with contempt? And why were they not considered a viable championship contender, let alone the obvious favorite? Why have they simply been ignored? Why does nobody care about Jokic being in the top right corner of every damn NBA graph I've ever seen? Here's my theory. Graphs are boring. Also, part of the reason is because the Nuggets aren't considered a historic NBA franchise, right? They joined the league in the '76 ABA merger along with the Pacers, the Nets, and the Spurs. But unlike those other three teams, the Nuggets have somehow gone almost 50 years without any classic signature moments, good or bad, or of course getting to the finals. Their most iconic moment in team history is from 1994 when Dikembe Mutombo was lying on his back, holding the ball in the air like he invented it. He's crying because the 8th-seeded Nuggets upset the Sonics in the first round. But even back then, the Nuggets couldn't do an upset right, okay? Because as embarrassing as it was for the 1-seed Sonics to lose, this was more embarrassing.
Let's get ready to Bud Combo!
Ooh, wait, no, maybe a splash of Scooter Elway can make it better.
Johnny, get ready to Bud Combo!
No, you can't. Since that happened almost 30 years ago, the most famous moment in Nuggets history, Rocky passing out while being lowered from the rafters. Rocky is the highest paid mascot in all sports, by the way. It also doesn't help that the most viewed Nuggets clip on YouTube is Peyton Manning throwing a football to Rocky the mascot. ESPN probably thinks that clip is so popular because the Nuggets were playing the Celtics that night, though. And this is a team that drafted Carmelo Anthony and had him for the first 8 years of his career. Carmelo was a star, and the team did receive more attention when he was on the roster, even though they weren't as good. Why? Well, because he was a flashy scorer. His game wasn't nearly as complete as Jokic says, but he was selected 3rd overall in 2003, and he'd keep taking shots even if he was cold. Jokic didn't start averaging as many points as Anthony until the last 3 seasons, and even though Jokic usually makes a pass that's better than any shot any player in the league makes in any game, passes don't make the highlights on the regular. And if you recall, the franchise leader in coaching wins for the Nuggets is this guy, old Doug Moe, whose coaching philosophy actually had a lot in common with Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla's.
So we run the passing game, which if you take this line here, this line here, this line here, and this line here, and you play in between there and have a good time, you'll end up scoring. So forget the play.
Now I realize Doug's doing a bit here, but sadly the same cannot be said for Mazzulla.
Tonight it may take 48, it may take 53, it may take 58, it doesn't matter. You grant and you stay in it for however long we have to stay in it for, you better fucking smile while you do it. You better have the most fun you can. All right, that's the most important thing. Let's go. Let's go.
Surely fans can appreciate this year's Nuggets team, led by the reigning two-time MVP, playing at the peak of his powers, a walking triple-double, a passing and shooting savant who just may be the spawn of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, which is the exact same thing they said about Zendaya. The low point, though, came when it was revealed that Mark Jackson didn't include Jokic in the top 5 of his MVP ballot this year, later confessing that he forgot. You forget about your wallet, Mark. You forget your kids are in the car on a 100-degree day with the doors locked and the windows rolled all the way up, Mark. You don't forget to put the fucking two-time reigning MVP in your MVP ballot. Trust me, as someone who tried to forget to put Patrick Mahomes in the MVP combo for the NFL, at worst, I had him at 3. But Mark wasn't the only one conveniently forgetting about Denver. In the NBA's midseason survey, media members were asked a simple question: who will win the finals? Now, at the time, the Nuggets were 27-12, just the best record in the West. Jamal Murray had shown to be all the way back from the ACL tear that kept him out of the 2021 season. New additions Bruce Brown and KCP had proven to be reliable cutting and shooting options around Jokic. In fact, I almost converted to Catholicism just to follow Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And yet, here are the media's midseason picks for who would win it all. Not the Nuggets, not the Nuggets, not the Nuggets. That's right, no single person voted for Denver. Meanwhile, Brooklyn, a team with Kyrie Irving on it at the time, received 10% of the vote. There's a better chance of Kyrie converting to Judaism than the Nets winning the championship. Now, the Nuggets did get a ton of love for their overtime win on Christmas and Aaron Gordon's insane dunk from that game. And there's the real problem right there, okay? Denver simply needs more nationally televised games because when they get them, they do get attention. The NBA should note the opportunity they have to make the Nuggets more popular and capitalize on it. The only way the Nuggets can get respect, though, is by winning it all. Now, with everyone bitching about them not getting respect, I feel like there's even more pressure on the Nuggets because the backlash, if they fall to an 8 seed, will be far worse than the heat the Celtics got for it. Sorry, that was confusing. The shit the Celtics got for falling to the Heat. Now, Denver has a star player in Jokic, but unlike Kawhi, he actually learned to laugh. Unlike LeBron, his journey to the NBA wasn't in the spotlight. And unlike Draymond Green, he doesn't have a podcast or say crazy shit to the media. And the simple truth is, he has not been anointed a star by the national media. Even with the MVPs, it feels like people are forced to talk about him. And the simple truth is, those people do not watch him play regularly. The NBA does not embrace underdogs the way the NFL does, and the Nuggets, even as a 1 seed, have been exactly that. The team with the second best claim on the nobody believes in us angle is actually the Miami Heat, who were 100-1 odds to make the finals after losing the opening round play-in game. A ragtag bunch of rejects and retreads who win over and over again by playing smart, by playing together, and not doing extremely dumb stuff on the court. What a formula! The Miami Heat is an extremely likable squad who in most years you would have zero problem rooting for. Only this year they're playing the most aesthetically pleasing team since the beautiful game Spurs. And if the Nuggets win, maybe they can start to become like the Spurs, who were respected by the national media, who like Denver were also part of that ABA expansion in '76, who also played a boring style of efficient basketball. The difference is they have had #1 overall picks turn into star players. Jokic was drafted at pick 41 during a Taco Bell commercial. And even though he's turned into a player that's as good as Tim Duncan was, who is as humble as Tim Duncan was, the national sports talkers do not want to crown him as a sexy, fun player to hype. The Spurs also have a 5-time Coach of the Year in Greg Popovich. The only way Michael Malone can get the coaching sex symbol status is by winning a championship. And even though Jamal Murray once streamed himself getting a blowy on Instagram, he really needs to date a celebrity like Tony Parker did to up his status with the media. NBA basketball has become a carnival game, an endless barrage of three-point shots that make you want to scoop your eyeballs out with an ice cream scooper. The Nuggets are the antithesis of this, and a win for the Nuggets isn't just a win for Denver, it's a win for the future of basketball. Oh, and by the way, Michael Porter Jr. made the 10th most three-pointers per game last season, but he was also just 22nd in attempts. So, again, just efficient. And, as a self-appointed local team ambassador, let me welcome you to the Nuggets bandwagon. Hopefully, it doesn't get towed.
Dude, look how goofy dude is trying to tow my car when I'm standing right here.
Yeah, Denver Nuggets, huh?
Please subscribe, and I will be streaming the Nuggets game tonight. So, yeah, that probably means they're going to lose.
Sweat and dried up pieces of feces between a man's butt and balls.